As the war in Europe continues, Ukraine's neighbors remain on high alert. The United Nations now says more than 4 million Ukrainians have fled the country since the war began 5 weeks ago. Thousands of them have made their way to Latvia. The NATO member shares a border with Russia and is now just over 600 miles away from Ukraine. For perspective, that's about the same distance of Washington, D.C. to Atlanta. Also, Moscow is equidistant. The president of Latvia, Egils Levits, joins us now. Mr. President, thank you so much for joining us. I have a lot of questions for you. My first is just please give us a sense of what you make of Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine and now claims he is scaling back.
Yes, of course, Russia has violated international law, the main principles of international law, which laid down already in the United Nations statutes from 45. It's a gravest violation of the independence, territorial sovereignty of another state. And our world peace order is based on these principles, which Russia is now violating. Concerning the latest informations about Russian intention, I would say we have no reason to trust Russia, to trust Lavrov, to trust Putin, if we would see in reality that there are some actions that they are stopping the aggression, then of course that will be another situation. But now such kind of announcements, there is no reason to trust in that. There is a rather maybe a repositioning of the Russian forces from one front to another front, but that do not mean a stopping of the aggression.
Do you have any sense of anything that hasn't been done yet through NATO or on the part of the United States that could perhaps inspire Vladimir Putin to pull back?
Yes, there is one very important tool, that is to give weapons to Ukraine, because only the resistance of Ukraine is a reason for Russia to stop the aggression. We see that Putin counted that Ukraine will resist maybe 2-3 days, and he will have a kind of blitzkrieg. No, it's not the case. Ukraine is highly motivated to defend the country. And we, the free world, NATO, all democratic states should support Ukraine because Ukraine is fighting also for our values. This is one thing. The second thing is to isolate Russia from international world, from international economy. This is done by heavy sanctions. The sanctions are already in force, but it's not all sanctions. There are a lot of potential to increase the sanctions. So on one side, Ukraine is fighting for the country, and in principle, Ukraine is stopping the aggression through military means, and then economic means by European Union, by United States, also to have a heavy pressure to Russian economy, because the Russian economy is feeding the military. And if the Russian economy suffers, of course, then the military force is also at stake for Russia.
There's also, of course, the ongoing concern that this escalates, that this goes beyond Ukraine's borders. And I'm wondering about the 3 Seas summit that you are hosting in a few months. The goal, of course, is to accelerate the development of cross-border energy, transport, and digital infrastructure in the region between the Black, the Baltic, and the Adriatic Seas. And I'm wondering if the Russian invasion of Ukraine really reinforces the need for these goals, perhaps help strengthen Central Europe from Russia's aggression?
Yes, I would say that Russia has the intention to follow the line which is already started by Ukraine. And the weakness of the West, the weakness of United States, the weakness of Europe is an invitation of Russia to do so. It is a provocation for Russia, our weakness. But we are not weak. NATO is not weak, United States are not weak, and European Union is not weak. And therefore, our answer, our right response is to show strength. We should strengthen the NATO eastern flank through further deployment of U.S. troops, of other NATO countries to this area. So there was already last week a summit of the NATO states in Brussels. We decided to double the number of NATO multinational battle groups from 4 to 8 in different countries. So this is the right answer to Russia, and this is a real peace politics, because only our strength can guarantee peace.
Good morning, Mr. President. Thank you for taking some time with us this morning. Among your 2 million or so citizens in Latvia, you have a large Russian population. I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's about a quarter of your population. I'm curious, given the way that Vladimir Putin has framed his invasion of Ukraine as sort of reunifying Russia and bringing those people back in to what Russia he believes should be. I'm curious about the reaction from the Russians who live in Latvia about what he's doing.
The Russian minority is largely integrated in our society. Of course, like in other democratic countries, like, for example, in United States, in Germany, or in Latvia, also there are a small minority which supports Russia, which supports Putin, but it is a minority, small minority, and in general, the Latvian people are overwhelmingly supporting Ukraine. It is a real overwhelming support for Ukraine.
That's interesting. Mr. President, Andrea Mitchell has a question for you. Andrea?
Thanks so much. Mr. President, I was in your wonderful country not too long ago for the NATO summit and enjoyed your hospitality. Thank you and your people. So now at this juncture, when there are talks in Turkey, what do you think of this proposal that Ukraine has made to have other countries as a guarantor, if you will, of the security going forward? Could that be trusted? Would Turkey, France, Israel have been mentioned, maybe Finland and Sweden? Could that be done without, if they include some NATO members like Turkey and France, without getting into a NATO guarantee, which NATO, of course, has resisted?
NATO is Ukraine is partner of NATO, but it is till now not an ally of NATO, not a member of NATO. And therefore, the proposal of the Ukrainian side to have several states as guarantors, I think it's very interesting. It is, if it is proposed from President Zelensky, from Ukrainian side, then I would support this proposal.
All right, President of Latvia, Egils Levits, thank you so very much for being on the show with us.
Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.